All right, today we are diving into a piece of technology that takes on one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, finding massive fires but from a totally new angle, an angle you've probably never even thought of. Let's get into it.
It's a really interesting question, right? When you think about fighting fires from the air, your mind immediately goes to big planes or helicopters. But what if there was another way? Something more nimble, maybe even safer, and based on a concept that's, well, surprisingly simple.
So, before we get to the solution, we've got to understand the real size of the problem. We need to look at the limits of the tools we're using right now.
You know, it really all boils down to one word: access. Getting water to the heart of a fire is everything. But our traditional methods can be slow, they're often limited by the terrain, and they can put fire crews in some incredibly dangerous situations. In this kind of fight, just getting to the fire is half the battle.
And this is where this new invention comes into play. It's known by its German name, the Sky-Feuerlöschanlage. It's a concept designed to leap right over those exact problems we just talked about.
So what is it exactly? Well, at its heart, it's this incredibly powerful fan that's attached to a cable, and its job is to lift a fire hose way up into the air. This lets firefighters douse a fire from directly above, all while the crew stays safely on the ground.
And here is absolutely the best way to picture this thing. Just imagine a giant industrial-strength kite. Seriously. But instead of flying for fun, its string is actually a fire hose, and its whole purpose is to hover right over a fire and dump a massive amount of water on it. That's the big idea.
Okay, so this idea of a giant firefighting kite sounds pretty cool, but how does it actually get into the air and, stay there? Let's break down how this thing actually works.
It all happens in 5 key steps. First up, you've got the high-power fan unit, which gets set up on the ground. Then, the hose and all the controls get attached to its cable. Next, the fan kicks in and provides the lift, sending the whole assembly up into the sky. A heavy ground anchor, we're talking a truck or maybe even a ship, acts as a counterweight to keep it stable. And finally, a firefighter uses a long control pole to aim the stream of water exactly where it needs to go, all from a totally safe distance.
Let's go back to that kite analogy, because it really lines up perfectly. The fan? That's the kite itself, the thing generating lift. The cable and hose? That's the kite string, except this string also delivers the water. The counterweight is like you, holding onto the string and keeping everything stable. And that control pole? Well, that's what lets the firefighter actually steer.
Now, this part is just a brilliant piece of physics. You see that natural, gentle curve the hose makes in the air? That's not just a side effect, it's a critical design feature. That parabolic arc acts kind of like the tail on a kite, providing a huge amount of stability that keeps the whole system surprisingly steady up there. All right, so we get the theory, but where could you actually use a thing like this? Well, its versatility really shines in 2 of the most difficult firefighting environments you can imagine.
Think about a city. It can attack a fire in a skyscraper from above, and it could even help with evacuations if you pair it with ladders. But then you take it out to a wildfire, and it's just as powerful. It could operate from a ship, pumping seawater directly onto a coastal forest fire, or it can even use the slope of a hill to support the hose, which makes the fan's job way easier.
And the sheer amount of water we're talking about here is just staggering. To give you a sense of its power, the system is designed to transport several tons of water every single second. That is an absolutely game-changing amount of firepower aimed right where it's needed most.
And the benefits don't even stop with just raw power. The whole system is completely mobile since it's powered by the same truck or ship that it's deployed from. And like we saw, it cleverly uses the terrain to its advantage. In fact, the technology is so versatile, it could even be adapted for totally peaceful uses, like large-scale irrigation for farms.
But there's one more really clever adaptation we've got to talk about, and this one is designed for that very specific, very dangerous challenge of skyscraper fires.
The source material says it perfectly. The real advantage here is speed. When a fire breaks out on, say, the 50th floor, every single minute counts. That's the difference between containing it and losing control.
So this version completely flips the script. Instead of lifting from the ground up, the fan system is launched from another tall building nearby. It quickly flies an empty hose, which is way lighter and faster to get moving, over to the building that's on fire. It's only once it's in position that they start pumping water. It's all about rapid deployment to get water on target in just a few minutes. So, after looking at how it works and where you could use it, what does this all add up to? What could a technology like the Sky-Feuerlöschanlage actually mean for the future of fighting fires? When you boil it all down, there are three massive takeaways that really stand out. First, mobility. This thing can go almost anywhere. Second, power. It delivers a truly overwhelming amount of water. And maybe most importantly, third, safety. It's designed from the ground up to keep firefighters out of the most immediate, life-threatening danger zones.
It's definitely a radical idea, but it's one that tackles some of the oldest, toughest problems in firefighting. And it leaves us with a really compelling question. Could these simple, powerful, kite-like systems become a key part of the toolkit for firefighters in the future? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.